Or at least know enough. Calgary Today with Joe McFarland on 770 CHQR.
I've stumped the mic. I think I have anyways. Patrick's working the phones. 403-974-8255. If you know what the score was between Winnipeg and Calgary the last time they met back on August 8th. We've had a few phone calls. No correct answers so far. So nobody's been using the Google. They're trying to use their memories. That prize is still up for grabs going a Saturday night, Winnipeg, Calgary. The Pink Power Game. The color pink, the color red here on Wine Wednesday is red wine, obviously. That didn't go so well. I tried. Mike Roberts from Co-op Wine, Spirits and Beer.
We'll call it crimson. How's that?
I like
the color
that.
red today is crimson.
Way better. How was Thanksgiving?
It's good. It was busy, and that's always a fun weekend where, people come out and looking for wine and wine assistance, and they're pairing it with food and stuff, and people are interested in it. So that's always fun for us.
And you were saying that it was a fairly busy weekend for you guys.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, absolutely. Things kind of seem on track, and this is when, sort of the busy season really starts. That's Thanksgiving weekend kicks off, and then, usually the weather changes a little bit and our patterns change and kind of carries on through Christmas and through the new year and stuff. So
anything take you by surprise over the course of the weekend? Any kind of trends that started to pop up there like, Or on the flip side, everything went according to plan and you kind of, it actually worked to your advantage because you went, I saw this coming.
It's always hard to tell exactly what the trends are going to be. There's no trends that I really noticed this year or this weekend that haven't happened in the past. For sure, like everybody comes out of the woodwork and has, suddenly, a lot of different interests and stuff. And it's lots of fun. It's good to see people wanting to try something different and being interested in taking your advice, whereas a lot of times I shouldn't say a lot of times, but, sometimes people just kind of stick with what they know and what they like. But I can't think of any trends. Rosé is still happening. Riesling is really good with turkey dinner, but people still say no because it's Riesling and it's sweet, so they're afraid of it, but it's delicious with turkey dinner. But people still sporting Canadian wine and stuff. They want to, Thanksgiving, their family's around. So do you have something good from BC that I can bring to the house or whatever? So that's always good. So
do you find that you get a little bit of traffic for Halloween, or is it now full go into mode for Christmas?
Not really Halloween. Although that being said, we do host junk and juice Halloween candy and wine tasting events where we pair like junk candy with wine.
Suddenly everybody is sitting there going, wait a second, candy and wine? Okay, where do I sign up?
Come on, let's be real here. I'm a sommelier. Yeah, I worked in restaurants. I like nice food. I also dig Doritos. And I like wine, so it's fun sometimes to have some Doritos and a little bit of Australian Shiraz. That's a good pairing. Or some popcorn and some Prosecco or something. There's lots of options for you.
Now all of a sudden you're piquing my memory banks a little bit, because last year did you not bring in some chocolate of some kind and mixed it with like a red wine? Yeah. Right. Not that I'm saying you should do that again this year, because Wine Wednesday actually falls a day before Halloween.
We will.
That kid's never going to say no to chocolates. So there is that going for me. You've brought in, as you mentioned, a very nice, not red, a crimson wine.
Yeah, it is. It's a pretty cool color. This is one of my favorites. It's a Rioja. I'm sure I must have brought in a Rioja before, and it's from a winery called Cune. And it's pretty cool. They're celebrating their 140th year, or their anniversary this year, or birthday, I guess it would be. And still family owned and operated. So that's in northern Spain. They make a lot of wine up there, probably Spain's most important region, at least commercially for sure, and tons of history, and I think makes delicious wine. It's just drinkable wine. If you like your red, you like a little structure, and by structure I mean kind of like texture and that feeling in your mouth, as well as lots of flavor. This is definitely one of those wines, although it still has this sort of like a lightness to it. It's kind of light on its feet. It's still really fresh, so you can get away with watching the Stampeders or the Flames game or whatever it is, or drinking this while you're cooking, and you don't necessarily feel like you have to go looking for something to eat, although it is amazing with some certain pairings for sure.
Very cool. Now, I know with Spanish wines, you see the label and you go, there's going to be a problem with reading what it is, to be honest. And so, is it Rioja?
Rioja, R-I-O-J-A, Rioja. So that's the place. And their red wines are always blend, and Tempranillo is the most important grape variety. It really is the dominant grape variety in there. And they like to age the wines for a fairly long time in oak barrels, so you get a real big sense of that savory flavor from the oak, and lots of like toasted coconut and the kind of cool complex flavors that come out of that.
You mentioned in the email that you send to us before you come in, and you said the foothills of the Pyrenees Mountains. So is it very kind of similar-ish to the foothills of the Rockies?
Well, we have mountains. They have rocky hills.
Okay. All right.
I mean, they are big, right? They look like mountains, but, it's like, not quite like the Rockies. But it is interesting because you're northern Spain, so the Pyrenees to the north, and then on the other side of the mountains is the Atlantic, and it's a cool location of the Atlantic. And then the Atlantic on what would be their western side. It's a very continental climate. Not as cold as here, but it is very arid, and they're in the rain shadow effect, and much like we are, and long days and stuff like that. So
pretty cool atmosphere, I suppose, for winemaking in that neck of the woods.
Absolutely. It's pretty cool. During the afternoons, quite often you get this rolling clouds that looks like fog coming over the mountain. It's almost like a wave from the ocean. It's pretty cool. And that actually slows the grapes down from ripening too quickly and helps make them better quality grapes.
What is it about this particular wine that you keep coming back to?
I think it's just, for me, like I'm in the wine business and wine is my job. So I require a wine that's, that's like interesting and has some layers, and, I'm always smelling it, and, I'm super judgy about it, right? So I want it to be interesting, but I want it to be drinkable as well. And I find that Rioja just does that. It allows you, if you really like your wine, to smell it, and and sort of quote unquote listen to it, as I like to say, but it also is just totally, drinkable with kind of anything or nothing.
And you mentioned the point about the why factor for something like this, but how do you use a wine like this?
Yeah. Like I say, I think it's pretty easy going and casual to drink. If you're just doing like hors d'oeuvres and tapas and fun stuff like that, you're having a party, a wine like this is not going to be too polarizing. It's going to work with a lot of different dishes and a lot of different people because it's not super heavy. It's not super light. It has some freshness, but it has some texture and lots of flavor to it. So it's really kind of a good crowd pleaser. And like I say, it is really good with food. In Spanish, of course, tapas and all kinds of different food, roasted dishes, if you're into like lamb and other fun stuff like that with a little more flavor to it. It'll work really well. And I know a lot of us don't eat truffles on a regular basis, but one kind of classic characteristic of Rioja is this a little bit of a truffle note to it. And so if you like cooking with mushrooms or truffles and stuff like that, it'd be really good there too.
You mentioned it's accessible drinking wise. What's the price point like?
Well, it's not as much as truffles cost. It's only about $13.99 right now because it's on sale until close tonight at all of our Co-op Wine Spirits beer locations. So it's about $5 off. So normally you're in that just shy of $20, which is reasonable price and kind of regular price for this level of Rioja. So it's a Crianza. So it's like second tier, if you will.
Rioja Crianza.
That's right.
There you go.
You have to roll the R. Crianza.
I can't. I got a little bit of a stuffed up nose. It's bugging me. I'll get to it next time around. Mike, thanks for this.
Thank you.
This is Calgary Today on 770 CHQR. Let's go to helicopter traffic for West District by Truman.